before I even go ahead, is English okay with everybody or would somebody like me to kind of focus a little bit more on Hindi? Everything is fine. Okay, perfect. Alright. So, more than all of those things that he said and all the different hats that I wear, one hat that I also wear is that I'm a mother. I have 2 teenagers, so of course I'm way ahead of you guys, but I think that's my most prestigious hat. So, welcome to the journey of motherhood. Pregnancy is 280 days, and if I minus the 90 days that she was not supposed to eat almonds, she would have been eating 190 almonds on the day that she delivered, which is a lot, which all of you will agree was not reasonable, but somehow she was following it. Another mom said that, oh, as soon as I wake up in the morning, I'm supposed to have something white. So, hey, let me start eating something white, my baby will become fair. I mean, my answer to that is, hey, why don't we send all the white foods to Africa? So that is going to make all the generation of Negroes white, right? I mean, why are they being born black if we could control that? But nevertheless, so this mom said she'll have something white in the morning, and what she would do as soon as she woke up was eat a big spoon of sugar, because sugar was easy, available on the kitchen platform. While making the tea, 1 spoon would go in her mouth as well. So these are things that we make mistakes with, and somehow emotional aspect of pregnancy comes in, and those hormones which make us a little unreasonable. So we don't seem to understand where we make some mistakes, right? Food is very important because naturally it's making your baby. From day one, whether it's the baby's heart, lungs, kidney, body, etc., everything needs nutrition. Your baby is going to pull from you, understood. But what happens to your body? Your body is giving up that nutrition, so we need to replace it. If the grandmothers are telling you, okay, if you don't take care now, you will feel weak later, they are not wrong, because you are compromising your system as far as food is concerned. So it is important that the mother eats well. Think about it this way, this is foundation time. Every time I make a building, if I make a strong foundation, that building will survive. Whether it's a tsunami or a hurricane or a cyclone, the building will be okay. But what happens in real life? If I don't eat well and the foundation of the baby is not really sound, then later in life, the tsunamis of life are heart attacks. The earthquakes of life is diabetes. The cyclone is blood pressure. So, all of these things come up for these people later. You as parents will not come to know your child will suffer probably these illnesses when they are 50, 60, 70 years of age. What you're gifting today when you eat healthy is the gift of life. Babies are born at a good birth weight, which is really, really important. We all ask this question, right? We go and meet a mother in the hospital and say, hey, ladka hua ya ladki? Okay, answer is there, great. Second question, normal delivery hua ki C-section hua? Very natural. Now third question is, what is the weight of the baby? Why do we ask that? Because we want to know what is the health of the baby. And the more the weight, the big happy smiles come up. But we definitely don't want the baby to be overweight, because that's going to be difficult for the mother to deliver. That is going to be obesity later. So all of those complications are there. But on the flip side, if a baby is underweight, do you think this baby will be easy to deliver? Why? Baby is small. It can easily slip out. Why is it a problem? What is happening? What is happening is that when there are uterine contractions, this baby doesn't like it. I'll give you a simple day-to-day example. You're feeling fit and fine, you're feeling very healthy, and it's a very nice day, and your husband comes home, picks you up in his arms and twirls you around the room and says, I love you. What do you feel? Wow, he loves me so much. On the flip side, you have a headache, you have the flu, you're not feeling well, your husband comes home, picks you up in his arms and twirls you around and says, I love you. And you're probably going to say, can you leave me alone? Just get out from here. It's a natural reaction because you are not well. So that same feeling is not coming to you. So uterine contractions, baby normally enjoys. Baby feels that it's a nice, lovely roller coaster ride if the baby is healthy. If the baby is not healthy, there are going to be, the little fetal distress, baby is going to be uncomfortable. So then it can end up becoming a surgical birth also. So one of the basic fundamentals of headed towards a natural birth is to ensure that you are healthy. God has given you 9 months to prepare for this, right? If I have to run a marathon, I can't run today, isn't it? I have to prepare. What will I do? I will exercise, I will take care of my diet, I will psych myself mentally that you don't have to do it. I'll do all of that. And that's why you've been given these 9 months. Use it wisely, okay? So when we talk about food, let's talk about it in a simple fashion. We'll think about it like an Indian thali. because that is something that we all relate to as food. Now, if I was to ask you to make a thali of food, what is the first thing that you would put on it? Nothing? Come on. What is the first thing that you would put on your thali? Vegetables, okay. Salads. So we are in the same group. Vegetables and salads, okay. We'll start with that. Vegetables and fruits, they will form one category of your diet. How do I choose my vegetables and fruits? I am going to choose as many colors as possible. Think about this. When you go to the market, right now also, what colors will you see? You'll see red, you'll see yellow, you'll see green, you'll see purple. Do you eat all of those colors? That's your trick. Each of the colors denotes a different nutrient. And the more nutrients you get in your diet, the better. That's how you form a balanced diet. I know your books are saying eat a green leafy vegetable every day, have a citrus, and it's so confusing. But instead, if you were to say that, hey, when I go to the market, I'm going to buy all the colors that are available, and I'm going to come home, and over the course of the next few days, I'm going to eat all of this, then it makes your life really simple. Personally, I'm not very fond of, say, brinjal, right? And if I have bought it, because that's the only purple I saw on the vendors, I'll buy it, I'll come home. Maybe on Monday, I won't make brinjal. I'll make my ladyfinger because I like that. On Tuesday, I may make my cauliflower. But by Wednesday, that brinjal is starting to get spoiled. So naturally, the woman that I am, I'll say, I can't waste this. I'll end up making the brinjal and I'll end up eating it. So I'll get the nutrient from the brinjal as well. And that's the same rule that goes with fruits. We think that yes, fruits are healthy, I agree. But if you're going to eat only an apple every day, that's probably not a great idea. Bring in some variety. You may not like melons so much, but it's okay. You may not be very fond of bananas, but bring in a banana occasionally. So, every day, change your fruit, change your vegetable. That's how you'll get all the vital nutrients. A simple example of how much to eat is each serving of a vegetable or a fruit is 100 grams. It's a very simple mathematics that you do, right? 100 grams. You need to consume about 500 grams, that is 5 servings from this group in a day, which is half a kilo of fruits and vegetables. It's very easy. 1 vegetable for lunch, 1 vegetable for dinner, that takes care of 200 grams. Have a fruit in mid-morning, have a fruit in the mid-evening, that's 400 grams. Now, where do I get my last 100 grams of veggies? From your salads, from your soups. You could put it in your breakfast. When you make a sandwich, put it there. When you're having upma poha, don't just have kanda poha. Chop in some carrots and peas and put that in. So make it more wholesome. Don't just have, a dosa. Make a palak dosa. So make the whole thing a lot more wholesome from what you are doing. Don't add foods, but see how you can make that same food a little bit more nutritious, okay? What's the second thing that you will put on your plate? We finished the first group. What's the second thing you'll put? Sorry? Cereals, right? So cereals in our Indian way would be rice, roti, maybe breads, some multigrains, things like that is what we put on it. Now, when I'm choosing a cereal, the idea is that I'm going to do unrefined. When I do a polished cereal, which is white rice, maida, I've removed all the husk. I've removed a lot of the nutrition value. So I need to make sure that I do unrefined grains. Think wheat. Think nachni, think jawar, think bajra, think brown rice, think oats, right? Ideally, you need to have about 5 to 6 servings of this also every day. And it's really easy. We end up eating about 2 for breakfast, 2 for lunch, 2 for dinner, so that's about 6 servings already done. Most of us will cheat and have something in the evening too. But the evening servings are generally the cheat servings. The rotis come up in lunch and dinner, the upmas and pohas and idlis and dosas will come for breakfast. But evening what happens is biscuits and khakras and chips and all of that. They are also carbs, but they are unhealthy carbs. So now see what you can do to change this, right? Instead of having biscuits and chips and etc., think if you can make maybe a wrap for yourself with a roti, even if it's leftover. If you want to do something with bread, make sure you put some vegetables on it and have an open sandwich, right? You could just see if you can get some more healthier versions of khakras. You can do sukha bhel, which is with puffed rice and onion and tomato and potato and etc. and that, and don't put the save. So think of how you can make your evening snack healthy as well. You're all going to become mothers. Very soon you're running after children, and children can be very difficult to feed. We have 2 mothers here already, and they'll probably vouch for that. That they're fussy, they don't like to eat certain things, and it starts here. If you're eating healthy, your child will eat healthy as well. So that's your second food group. What else will you put on your plate? Sorry? Dals. So pulses. When we're saying pulses, we're talking about the protein group. How many vegetarians, how many non-vegetarians? Vegetarians? Okay. Okay. How many non-vegetarians? Keep your hands up. Do you eat non-veg every day? Keep your hand up, otherwise put it down. So that means we're all vegetarians, isn't it? At some point in our lives, we're vegetarian. Vegetarians' life is very difficult because protein in vegetarian food is limited, very difficult to complete your requirement. I'll give you some simple numbers. As a layman, you will not be able to measure the nutrition value of a particular food, but you can kind of understand it. Pregnancy requires you to have about 70 grams of protein every day. This you cannot weigh on a weighing scale. But I'll give you examples. 1 egg has about 6 grams. Can you eat 12 eggs in a day? You can't. It's really difficult, right? A bowl of cooked dal has about 4 grams. A bowl of chola will have about 6 grams. A fistful of nuts will give you anywhere between 6 to 10 grams. So life is difficult. Life is really difficult. And that's one of the reasons why we want you to have the unrefined grains. Because your wheat, your jawar, your nachni, when it's unrefined, also has some amount of protein in it. So avoid the rice. Like, think about it. If you have rice and sabzi for lunch, you have had no protein. And that becomes really difficult. If you have roti and sabzi, that's also low because your grain will have less, but you need the dal. Most people do eat healthy, but they're not eating a balanced diet yet. Mums will write this, I eat roti, sabzi for dinner. I mean, damn decent, but it's not yet healthy, right? So that's what you need to remember, that you need to eat protein. Now think about this every time you open your mouth to eat. As pregnant mothers, you need to eat about 6 times a day. Okay? And 6 times a day means every 2-3 hours, your baby is eating constantly. Your baby is connected to the placenta, the blood is flowing. So the baby needs to eat 24/7. You can eat at least 6 times. Right? So every 2-3 hours, you need to eat something. It could be a small snack, it could be a piece of fruit, it could be some puffed rice, it could be something small, but you need to eat. So every time you eat, look at your plate and see where's my protein. The killer over here is that protein helps to build the baby's brain. So it's a brain food. Now if you want a smart child, I think we'll all put our hands up, we want a smart child. So keeping that in mind, you need to make sure you eat your protein. The good news is that brain development is maximum in the 3rd trimester. That doesn't mean you don't eat protein in the first 2 trimesters, you do. But 3rd trimester, the focus becomes much more. So start getting yourself into the habit. Ideas of protein food, especially for vegetarians, would be dals, chola, rajma, vatana, sprouts, nuts, seeds, soy-based foods. All of these are protein-dense foods. If I'm a non-vegetarian, I could look at eggs. When I eat eggs, I should try and avoid having too much of yellow. So 1 yellow a day is okay. As many whites as you want is what you can have. So even if you say I want to have 4 egg whites and 1 egg yellow, I'm okay with that. That's okay, right? If you're having chicken, make sure you remove the skin because we want to make sure that you have lean meat. We don't want you to have the fat content. There's a lot of fat near the skin. If you're having seafood, in this weather, I would really avoid it because we don't know how fresh it is. But nevertheless, about 3 times a week, eating fish is considered okay. If you put in prawns and etc., they can raise your cholesterol. So try and avoid that. Anything with shells, like shellfish, lobsters, crabs, just stay away from those things, right? If you eat red meat, that's okay too, but again, once or twice a week because the cholesterol levels are high. The good news for non-vegetarians is that a piece of chicken or fish or meat of this size, the size of just your palm, can give you about 15 to 18 grams of protein. So even if you want to eat chicken every day, it's perfectly all right, right? So now, start thinking about where's your protein and make sure you include a little bit of protein every time you open your mouth to eat, right? So vegetables done, cereals done, proteins done. What are we doing next? What else will you put on your plate? Correct. So she has milk product. Milk product is also known as a milk protein. And that's the bonus protein, right? Every cup of milk or curd or lassi that you have can give you anywhere between 4 to 6 grams of protein. So it punches up your intake, isn't it? So if you don't have your curd or you don't have your milk, you're obviously depriving yourself. Calcium helps to build the baby's bones, helps to build the baby's teeth. It helps to develop the nervous system, and it also helps in muscle development. So wow, that's a lot of work. Calcium can get depleted from your body, which means you could have issues later as well. So it makes so much sense for moms to focus on their milk and milk products. It's the highest source of calcium. There are some plant products as well. So if you have a lactose issue, I would suggest consulting somebody to figure out how much of plant products you need to eat to make sure that you get your protein intake, milk protein intake, right? Full cream milk is not required. You don't need to sit and have like, malai maar ke doodh or malai maar ke lassi. That's only going to make you fat, right? So it's not necessary. What you need is skimmed milk. The calcium and protein content in skimmed milk is the same as it is in full cream milk, okay? What else? There's one more finger left. What else goes in your food?
Swedish.
Oh wow, okay. No, we'll talk about that later. That's others. That's others, right? So the last thing that goes in your food is fats. And fats is your cooking oil, your butter, your malai, your ghee, and all those things which make food really tasty, right? So the requirement for you is about 6 teaspoons in a 24-hour period. I know, I can see the eyes have gone big. You cannot fry anything in this much, right? If you're going to put a dollop of butter on your bread, that's like a teaspoon gone. So then you better make sure that the rest of the day you're going okay. You have to remember that almonds, walnuts, flax seeds, all of these things also have fats in it. So this is also counted in your quota. So you really can't overdo it. Try and limit your intake of fats. Don't go for fried foods. If you want to eat fish, it has to be steamed fish, stir-fried fish, not fish fry. So then, of course, it tastes much yummier, but nevertheless, it's not really an option, right? So now we can talk about the others, right? When we talk about sweets, as little as possible, see if you can find a healthier option. Maybe you could look at jaggery. Maybe you could look at some homemade fruit-flavored dessert, which can make you feel that craving is being satisfied. Always share your dessert. Don't have it alone. So when you're in a restaurant and you order one plate, okay, of course you have to live a little, I can't tell you no, but share it with your husband. You know, प्यार बांटने से बचता है, बढ़ता है, all of those things. So always share your dessert. Don't have the whole thing, that's your target, right? The second thing that becomes others is salt. We always add salt in our food and it's only a taste enhancer, but naturally it is required and it also has a certain amount of sodium in it which makes it required for the body, but we don't need so much. What I need is 1 teaspoon in the entire day. And if I'm looking at salt in a packet of chips, for example, the 10 rupee packets that we get, there are about 4 teaspoons of salt in that. So if you think that you can have food without salt for 4 days, then go ahead and have the packet of chips because you've compensated. But believe me, even one meal without salt is like a torture. So take care of yourself, don't have too much salt. Avoid anything which is processed. Avoid anything which has a best before expiration date. The moment it has that, it has to have sodium. There is no option because sodium is also a preservative, right? The other add-on that we also have is water. And we recommend that pregnant mothers should be consuming about 8 to 12 glasses, that is 2 to 3 liters of water every day. Water helps to digest your food. Water helps to process everything, and water also helps to maintain the levels of amniotic fluid in your body. So it's really essential that you consume enough water. If you have less, you get dehydrated. I know you want to go to the bathroom, and that's why you avoid drinking the water, but that's not an option. So doesn't matter, visit the bathroom frequently, but make sure you have your 8 to 12 glasses a day. Taper it off in the night hours so that you don't have to get up in the middle of the night, but consume your requirement during the day for sure, right? Besides this, your doctor will prescribe certain supplements, iron, calcium, folic acid, especially for the mums who are trying to conceive. Make sure you have your folic acid even 3 months prior and in the first few months of pregnancy. Do not cheat on these. It's really important because we have just 9 months to make the perfect baby. So we don't want to, just add on something and make a mistake with something. So These supplements are bioavailable to your body, they get absorbed very easily, and that is something that you can't cheat on. If something is not suiting you, discuss it with your doctor. Hey doc, the iron medication makes me pukey, or the calcium makes me feel uneasy. So maybe the doctor can give you another brand. And that is going to help you to ensure that, okay, you're at least taking the nutrient requirements that you have. Yeah? Questions?
Any take on tea, coffee?
Okay, so tea and coffee is caffeine, and caffeine interferes with iron absorption. However, 1 cup of coffee or 2 cups of tea in a day is generally considered okay. And then that doesn't mean you can't have Coke and Pepsi, you can't have all of that.
Sugar-free foods.
Okay, so sugar-free is something which we don't allow. That is where you have the artificial sweeteners. That the effect of that on a developing fetus is yet under study. So we always say avoid that because it can cause possibility of defects is there. So if you have to have something which doesn't have refined sugar, you can convert to either honey or jaggery or a natural sweet option rather than the artificial sweetener.
What do you do if you don't feel like eating much? Like
So you listen to your body. It's not that you're supposed to eat a whole lot. Your requirement in pregnancy from the 2nd trimester onwards, that means once you complete 12 weeks, is about 300 extra calories per day. Now, if I was to give you an example of what 300 calories is, it's 2 chapatis, a small katori of vegetable, and a small bowl of dal will actually kind of account for about 300 calories. So you just need to increase that much. So over 6 meals, it's not so difficult. If you still don't feel like eating, have small portions, and you're in the 1st trimester. So always try and pick foods which you like from the healthy range. So you will like a few things, and you'll say, okay, I'll eat only these for the first 3 months. That's okay. Yes?
I was under warfarin for some time.
You were sorry?
There are a drug called warfarin.
Okay.
For quite some time. Do I need to take any precaution for choosing what to eat and what not to eat?
So I think that medication question, we leave it for the doctor to answer for you, because she will be able to give you the medical repercussions of it as well. Yeah.
I have digestive problems.
Okay.
Whenever I eat, I feel full.
But you're supposed to feel full after eating. So look at it this way, right? Your uterus normally is so small, and it is here deep down in the pelvic cavity. As it grows, it's going to grow, and eventually it's going to reach here. Under normal circumstances, your stomach is sitting somewhere here. So when the uterus is growing, it is pushing against the stomach, it's putting a lot of pressure against the stomach, and eventually in the 9th month of pregnancy, your stomach is going to be somewhere here. So it's going to give you that feeling of being heavy. You're carrying something, you're almost 18 weeks pregnant. So it is natural to feel heavy. It's part and parcel of pregnancy. As long as you're not throwing up or you don't have any loose motions, and then that's called digestive issues. But if you're just feeling a little heavy, space your meals out, have smaller meals, see if you're having too much of fried foods. Yes, so see if that's acidity. Like an acidity kind of a feeling, right? So eat small meals, eat frequent meals, don't eat a lot at one time. You know that 3 baar khana hai, breakfast, lunch, dinner, beech mein kuch nahi khana hai. That's not a good idea because that also causes acidity. The stomach doesn't know that it has to wait for another 5 hours for food. So you can feel a lot of acidity then as well. So try it out. Yes, I have one behind you. Yes.
Where do paneer and tofu? Which category?
So they fall into both categories, protein and milk protein. So if you are having, say for example, a vegetable made of paneer, then you are really doing protein, you're not doing a vegetable. You need to make sure you have a vegetable-based salad and vice versa.
Any suggestions on artificial protein supplements, powders?
Okay, so artificial protein powders will also have sugar in them. So you have to be careful of that. The second thing you should know is that some of these can actually have a very high protein content. So if I look at a whey scoop, it would have about 24 grams of protein. Great thing. I mean, you say, wow, I have 3 scoops and I'm done for the day. But it's very difficult for your body to absorb this without another balance of nutrients. So if I'm going to increase your protein intake in one shot, this is like a shot, so much, then I also need to increase your calcium intake. I need to increase your fluid intake. Otherwise, it will put a strain on the kidneys. So then it's not recommended. But a simple protein powder like a Protein X or a Mama's Best or something like that, that has about 6 to 8 grams. And if you like the taste of that in your milk, you can go ahead and have it.
I don't feel like eating a lot, and it's like 6 months is going on. But if I put some salt sometimes, no, the normal content of the salt is already made in the.
You want to put some more?
Sometimes I feel like after that I feel like eating. So is it okay to put extra salt? Because I know I should not.
You know my answer is going to be like, no, not really.
But then I don't feel like eating.
I know, but maybe you could try putting something like a lime juice on top of it. That might actually make you feel better.
Sometimes I try to put chaat or slime or something to make it at least good to eat. Otherwise, I don't feel like eating. I hardly eat a chapati otherwise.
So one chapati is okay, that's all right. But eat in like every 2-3 hours, try to eat something else. Don't overeat. Eat a little bit, that's fine. But less salt would be a good idea.
It is not increasing, and it's like now it should increase. So my gynec is continuously telling me to keep eating and increase the weight.
Yeah. So if the baby is gaining weight well enough and you're healthy, we can tolerate little less weight gain in you, not a problem. As long as you're healthy and the baby is healthy. So, yeah. Anything else? Any more questions? Okay, awesome. So, Praveen, I think yes.
Is it good to vomit or not if you are feeding? Because doctors generally give vomit medicines to avoid it.
Yeah.
But like in-laws, they will say, no, you should vomit. It is good for child's, growth and stuff.
So, the myths around what people say. When I was pregnant the first time, I had zero vomiting, nothing. I was like this. I would eat everything, go everywhere, do anything. Almost till 7-8 months, I didn't even feel I was pregnant. And people kept telling me something's wrong. You have to vomit. I'm like, what nonsense. I mean, if I'm not vomiting, isn't that good? So the reason the doctors give you the medication is because if you're throwing up so much, you're not taking in the nutrients. The second thing is you're heaving. So there is a possibility that your uterus is also getting disturbed. And third is you're obviously feeling lousy, uncomfortable, you can't, live your life. So if it is very, very marginal and can be managed by dietary changes, then don't take the medication. But if it's a lot, then medications are advised because it helps to keep you comfortable. So don't listen to everything that you hear. Thank you.